everyone, it's Anthony Allen Ramos. I am so excited that A Strange Loop, which of course is the Tony Award-winning musical on Broadway that is breaking so many barriers when it comes to queer Black representation. And now on October 27th, they're making it official. Bob the Drag Queen is officially hosting the big Black Queer Night. And I'm so excited to be chatting with Bob right now. How are you, Bob?
I'm very good, Anthony Allen Ramos. Thank you for having me join you today.
Absolutely. Well, listen, we know how good this musical is. It is really such a breakthrough. So many things. It was so great to see it do well at the Tonys. But for you, we'll get into the night in a second, but what was your reaction when you saw this show for the first time? Why did you know, you're like, this is something that I want to get involved with. This is important. I want the world to know about it.
Well, it tells a really it tells a really interesting story, a shared experience. It's kind of like someone snuck into your brain, got your thoughts, and put them in a Broadway show. But thoughts that you had never thought out loud. And you thought to yourself, I don't know how this got out to the world. Like, who told you all about my thoughts? And I was in the theater, and I went with my friend Peppermint, and I also went with Peppermint, and I also went with my friend Alfredo. And there were some of us were Black and queer, some of us were not. And I kept thinking to myself, like, what if everyone in the room was Black and queer? There were a few moments I kept, like, people were, like, laughing at stuff, and I was like, what are you laughing at? How do you even get the context of this? Maybe that's my naive, thinking. But I'm like, this is just, some of this stuff is just so specific to being Black and queer. There are a few moments where I kept seeing, like, it would go over certain people's heads, and I was like, what if everyone in the room was really, really on that same page together,
No, it's so true. And I think I love, so that on the 27th, you're going to bring all of those people. You're inviting all the Black queer. And just for the record, everyone is invited, but you're really hoping that a big part of the audience will be Black and queer. There's also going to be a Q&A talkback that you're hosting. Tell me about that part of it, because I think that's super cool.
Yeah, I'm inviting some of the cast members to join me, and we're going to be talking about the show, its impact, how people feel about watching the show. Because, it really is a landmark show. It's not just a Tony Award-winning show for Best Musical. It is also a Pulitzer Prize-winning show that's been going on for a long time. It's been, being created for a very, very long time.
Do you think that, let's talk about the breakthrough, because I think there's so many important conversations that need to be had in Black communities about being LGBTQ, and this show really touches on so many pieces of it. What are you hoping that, anyone that comes to see the show any night, but also hopefully on the 27th for a big Black queer night, what do you hope that they take away from this story?
Well, I always hope that I really just hope that whoever you are, you take whatever you need from the story. We all get something different from the story. It depends on what perspective you're watching it from. Are you watching it from the perspective of someone who is Black and queer, but you never had this experience? Your coming out experience was easier because of how hard it was for people before you. Are you watching it from the experience of a parent who has a queer child? Are you also a Black queer parent who has a Black queer child? There's so many different perspectives. Everyone can get something different out of this show.
What do you think it would have been like for you to see something like this when you were growing up and like a kid?
Wow. I mean, when I was young, I think when I was when I was 23, younger than I am now. I was an adult, but when I was 23 in New York City, trying to make it as an artist and a writer and a drag queen and a comedian and a blip blip blorp, and seeing that someone else, sometimes you feel really weak. You really can feel by yourself in this world, despite having such a shared experience. You'll feel like it's just me. I'm positive that I'm the only one having this experience,
Do you hope that, do you think, I know you hope so, but, seeing that win at the Tonys, do you think that sends a message out to Broadway and the rest of the world that, look, we need more stories like this? They're being awarded, they're important, they're connecting. We want more.
Well, we do want more stories like this, but more important than that, we need to be supporting stories like this. Strange Loop is closing on Broadway. Strange Loop is closing. So, yeah, it's one of those where you can make it there, but, what does it take to actually stay there? You know what I mean? And I get that Black queer people are a very small minority in terms of who makes up America, but also the empathy, the desire for love from your family and seeking validation from others is not a specifically Black queer experience in and of itself. You know what I mean? So Black queer people, Black people in general, we don't always have a hard time making a place, but sometimes staying there, it can be really hard.
Yeah, I was surprised to see that it was closing in January. I mean, listen, I mean, it's no, it's not for lack of being amazing. It's obviously just, it comes down to numbers. And I think,
it was the most nominated show of the season.
Right. I know that. So people can, see it, through January, and then your big night is October 27th.
Yes.
So how do people get tickets? Do they just go, if they want to come to the big Black queer night, they just go online and get the tickets just like any other night?
Yes, so you can buy yourself a ticket to you can just go to the website and go to Strange Loop, Broadway and look up a ticket. But let me read this also. There's something I want to read.
Yeah.
It's because we're also getting a lot of tickets donated. And I want to make sure I get this absolutely right. Phenomenal is working with organizations like GLAAD and the Hedrick Martin Institute to distribute tickets to those in underserved communities. So if you can't afford a ticket, but you really want to be able to come see this remarkable moment, you can go to places like the Hedrick Martin Institute or to GLAAD and get a ticket.
Yeah, I know it's important for us that we, give people access to see it, just because they may not be able to afford the cost of a Broadway ticket. We're going to say, you know what, we still want you to, feel this and really connect with the story. So thank you for doing that. And before I forget, have you picked out your outfit? Because I know you're encouraging folks to wear black for this.
Yeah, they'll dress in all black. I don't know what I'm wearing yet, but I know it's going to be black.
That narrows it down a little bit. But speaking of ensembles and outfits, We Are Here is coming back. Finally, so excited. Season 3, November 25th, HBO Max. That show, winner of multiple Emmys, which is so great. How are we, what can you tell me about what's ahead? I mean, I love seeing the three of you, Shangela and Eureka, just going all over the country, enjoying what you do and making people happy.
Well, I'm very excited to be bringing our Emmy award-winning baby back to your screens. Each season we really do outdo ourselves. It is truly the best drag on TV. I say it every year, and I want to continue to say it because it remains true. It is some of the most honest TV you'll find out there. I don't like to call it reality TV because it's really not. It's something different. It really is
something. Yeah.
Yeah. It's something completely different. And I travel around the world doing comedy and doing music and doing talks, and I'm lucky enough to be told by people all the time how much this show has meant to them, how much it has helped their family bond during the pandemic, how it helped them come out to their parents, how it helped their parents understand what it's like to be queer, to be trans, how explaining to allies what it means to be, an Indigenous person living in the U.S., stuff like that.
No, it's so good, and I can't wait. So season 3, November 25th. And also your girl Shangela on Dancing with the Stars. What do you think? She's doing pretty well.
Yeah, she's doing a really good job. I'm rooting for Shangela. I'm rooting for Wayne Brady. They're both friends of mine, and they're both doing a really good job. So.
Yeah, and I think the nice thing that what I personally hope is that Shangela doing this show, I hope it gives opportunity just for more queer people in general, but also from the drag community and beyond. I think it's for ABC and Disney Plus. We're like, come on, we're ready for more.
Yeah, I think that 14, 15 years ago, Viacom took a really big chance on drag, and I think it paid off quite nicely for them. And I think that now other people are catching up. They're a little late to the party, but they're still showing up. Better late than never.
Is there any sort of show, like a competition, like a Dancing with the Stars or an Amazing Race or Family Feud? What would be your ultimate next, little thing to accomplish in that world?
I don't love competing I've done my reality TV competition days. The next thing I'm hoping to compete for will be the Emmys again.
Do it. Put it out there. Well, listen, I know you're on the road, so thanks for the time. But yeah, just a reminder, everyone, if you want to go to the Big Black Queer Night at A Strange Loop in New York City on Broadway. It is happening on October 27th. You can get your tickets online. It's going to be great. It's going to feature a Q&A talkback with Bob and some of the cast. So, but Bob, thanks again for really, doing what you can and doing what you do to get people to see this, because I agree it is such an important story.
Of course. Thank you so much for your time.